welcome to this edition of You Can Get There From Here. I'm Dr. Joel Moore, Chair of the Department of Communication and Digital Media Production at the University of Central Missouri, and it is my pleasure every week to get to talk to some of our alumni. I talk to graduates in digital media production, some in communication studies, and others who got their master's degree here at the university. We find out what they're up to today and how the program helped them get there. Today, we are visiting with Abbey Daniel. Abbey is a graduate of our digital media production program, and she is now production coordinator for Assignment Desk in Charleston, South Carolina. Abbey, how you doing? It's been a long time.
Hi, Joe. I'm good. I'm good. It has been a while.
Yeah, it's good to see you. So tell us
Yeah.
what you've been up to, and then I tell you what, before that, give us a little background on Abbey Daniel. Where are you from? What led you to UCM? And then you can get into what you're doing now.
Okay. So I'm from a really small town called Sullivan, Missouri. It's about an hour outside of St. Louis. Grew up very involved in sports, but always I've always loved movies. I love to sit down and watch them. It just always kind of, that was my favorite pastime. And so my mom and my sister both played softball at UCM. And so I grew up going out there, visiting the school, and I just loved it. And I took a tour one time, and especially once I figured out that I wanted to do film and like DMP stuff, I was like, okay, yeah, I just kind of felt at home there. I felt very welcomed, and I was like, this is definitely the perfect spot for me.
Were you involved in broadcasting or film or anything like that when you were in high school?
Yeah, I took some editing classes. I took an animation class. My high school didn't really provide a lot whenever I was there, but after I left, since then they've picked that up and ran with it, of
Of
course, right after I
course.
leave. But I did as much as I could. I took videos. I made videos for the softball team. I got my hands on whatever I could to kind of gain my knowledge.
Okay. So what led you to the East Coast and how do you like it out there?
I love it. First and foremost, I love it. I love the beach. I live 15 minutes from the beach. I go with my friends after work for an evening sunset swim. It's awesome. But I've got family friends that live out here that my family has been coming out to visit since I was 16. And I was like, I love Charleston. It's awesome there. And then, of course, when OBX, the Outer Banks came out during COVID, I watched it and I found out that they shot in Charleston, and I was like, oh my gosh, I need to work for them. I need to go there. I already love Charleston. I love the show. And so that along with having the family friends out there that I had gone to visit and stuff, I was like, that just kind of solidified it for me. And I was like, I've got to live there.
So what year did you graduate?
I graduated high school in 2019 and I graduated college in 22.
So 22 you graduated, so you've been out there 2 years and I'm already picking up a Southern accent.
Oh no, no. I don't feel like I have one, but
Oh, there's a little bit of
I,
drawl in there. I love it. I grew up when I was
yeah.
a kid. I was in Arkansas, so I love a good Southern drawl.
Yeah, well, and it's hard because there's so many people around here that are like just thick, and I've grown up in the Midwest, I thought that I had like the Southern charm, the Southern hospitality. I thought we had that down, but being out here, it's a completely different ball game. Like
Well,
some of the nicest people I've ever met.
It is
Yeah.
South Carolina.
No, I know, but like it is like just unmatched. Just the amount of people around here that are so overly friendly. Like sometimes somebody will like smile and like talk to me. I'm like, are they talking to me? You know what I mean? I'm like, me? But it's awesome out here.
Well, I'm glad you have found a home and that you're enjoying life and that you're right there on the beach and getting to live it up. That's
Yeah.
outstanding. So you're a production coordinator. Tell us
Yes.
about that. What does that mean?
So I am in charge of coordinating crews and finding local freelance crews all over the world. So our company has a few different tiers inside of it because we've also got 16 staff DPs that are located all around the US. And so when our clients reach out to us, we will, of course, if they need a DP, we will check in with our guys first to see what their schedule looks like, where they're at in the US that day, and if they can make it work. And if they do, then we pass it off to one of our other divisions in the company, one of our coworkers who kind of manages just those DPs. Um, and
DP, director of photography.
yes,
Okay.
yes, yeah, yeah, a director of photography. And then yeah, we'll pass it off to them if they can cover it. If they don't, if they can't, they'll pass it off to my side assignment desk, and like me and my two other direct coworkers will take it on and we'll go and book a freelance director of photography. So we'll go into our system, we'll be like, okay, we need somebody out of Chicago on this date, and we'll reach out to our local contacts that we have in Chicago, get their day rates, and kind of pitch them to the client that way.
Okay.
But
So
it's not just DPs. We do all sorts of stuff. I mean, we've done jib operators, teleprompter operators, hair and makeup artists, still photographers, a bunch of PAs, set decorators, the whole 9 yards. We can find just pretty much about anything.
okay, so a lot of it's kind of marketing for the company to get the
Hmm.
right people in the right positions in the right spots, right? Do you ever get to go out and do any shooting or anything yourself?
No, it's definitely more of an office job, because we're very much behind the scenes. We send the crews, but it's cool because we get a lot of cool behind the scenes and stuff from like our DPs. And once a year we have what we call it the retreat, and they all come back to Charleston, like all 17 DPs are there, and we do like a photo shoot and like stuff with them, and so we get to like hang out with them and get to see all of their gear, because they all have their own truck just full of gear.
Yeah.
They've got just about everything under the sun. It's really neat. So, and there are a few times we'll have stuff locally that if it's a client that we work with a lot, we'll be like, hey, is it okay if we stop by and say hi? You know? So we do that stuff like that sometimes, but it's very rare that one of us are actually on site.
So what kind of productions are they? Are we talking about films? Are we talking about live productions? Are we talking about concerts? What kind of productions are we talking about here?
Yeah, so it's all non-union freelance stuff for the most part. Our 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 staff guys can do some union, like we'll work with like ABC and NBC and things like that, but um most of it's non-union unscripted TV. So we do a lot of live hits with live views and Starlink, you know, all that good stuff. We do a lot of stuff for Warner Brothers or Turner Sports, a lot of interviews. We do Sports Illustrated, very sports news interview style stuff. We do shoot stuff for like documentaries, which is really cool. There was a few documentaries that are out on HBO right now that I'm like, oh my gosh, I booked the crew that shot that, you know. So it's really cool to get to watch and be like, hey, I was behind the scenes. I know the guy that set up that lighting for that interview. It looks great, you know, that kind of stuff. So that's just really cool. We put one of our staff guys on a Sports Illustrated shoot last week, or maybe it was a few weeks ago with like Angel Reese. That was really
Oh,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's just like getting to, see that, and I'm like, I'm not even sure if that's out yet. So I don't know if that's supposed to be said.
I won't say anything.
But I was like, after that, I was like, wait, I don't know if they've released that interview yet. But just having that knowledge and just getting to be like, wow, he got to shoot with Angel Reese, or oh my gosh, they did a shoot with Michael B. Jordan. We do stuff for The Volume, which does, have you heard of like the Club Shay Shay podcast interviews?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, we book all of the crews and the DPs that go on and shoot that for them. Um, that's it's just cool to get to see, be like, hey, our guy shot that interview, and and they did all that setup and stuff, and it gets 3 million views plus or whatever, and you're like, wow, our guy did that, you
Yeah,
know.
that's one of those things that people don't really think about. They see the end product,
Hmm.
but somebody had to get the people together and the crews together to go do that. So that's a lot of responsibility. That's really some exciting work you're doing there. I want to
Yeah.
read back to you and get your thoughts on something you said when I asked you to be a part of this. You did a testimonial for me. And you said, quote, I am very well rounded and knowledgeable on so many different so many different aspects that might have put me a leg ahead of the other candidates I was against during the hiring process. First of all, very glad to hear that. The program's
Yeah.
working. Second
Yeah.
of all, what classes, what activities really stood out to you that really helped you get that leg up?
I feel like I'm trying to remember the names of them. Um, multicam, I think that I learned so much doing that. Because we literally, I remember there was one project where it took us like 3 weeks because everybody had to take a turn doing each position. So we just kept doing the same thing over and over again, but like that was awesome. I got to direct, I got to be the teleprompter, I got to be the floor manager. Like, I got to do all of these different things and I had to learn each individual task because, and I feel like that was one of the main things that I was like, wow, I feel so well rounded because, you could throw me into that situation and I'd be like, okay, where do you need me? I felt confident in the fact that no matter where I was, I could get the job done for the client or for the grade or whatever aspect, needed. And I thought I always loved that class. And then sports broadcasting, that was always fun. Getting to be hands-on with the cameras, another, in a live setting, um, doing all kinds of, I mean, there were audio classes I remember doing with Shannon Johnson. Those were always so fun. Screenwriting classes, and I just also just getting to like learn the history of film. So I learned like the creative side and like I got to shoot some short films and music videos and like do all this fun stuff with Steve. And I just felt like there was no stone unturned when it came to learning the process. I feel like there was a class for everything.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. Steve Price, who we were talking yesterday, he teaches our cinematography class, and that's where you
Mhm.
do the music videos. And he's teaching our corporate and freelance class, so students are getting to go out and get their own clients and develop their own productions and things.
Yep.
And I think that's one of the strengths of our program. It's one of the things we really pride ourselves on is that hands-on in the classroom, getting that experience. But as you know, I mean, we make stuff, right? And you
Mhm.
can't learn it all and practice it all in a classroom setting. You have to go out and get involved in things like Media Creators Association and UCM Radio The Beat and KMOS TV and all those types of things. What all were you involved in when you were in school that helped build your skill set?
I did KMOS. I also just shot a lot on my own. I like during the summertime, I went home and even though I had graduated, I had made a video, like a hype video type thing for my high school softball team. Um, and then while also there, like right before COVID, I went on that study abroad trip with Shannon Johnson, and I learned so much with that because we were doing live debates, like broadcasting those, and like, I really any opportunity that I had to kind of jump in,
The
you know,
Montgomery
do
Cup
that.
over in Great Britain?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, of course. Of course I'm gonna go, you know. Um,
Okay, if I have to.
right. I'm like, I guess. Um, I I bought my own camera, and so when I decided to make like when I did that, it just kind of changed for me because I was like, oh my gosh, I don't have to go check anything out, which having that resource is amazing. But have being able to have something of my own over the summer that I'm like, oh, I can go play and I can go, do this and do this. We shot a short film. Me and some of my friends shot a short film over the summer, just like on our own free will. We didn't have to submit it for anything. We just made it because we wanted to, and it was
Yeah.
so fun. So
Yeah,
fun.
and they talk about the expert puts in about 1,000 hours of work, right? It
Mhm.
takes about 1,000 hours to really get the skills down, practice and everything. And you just don't get that much time doing it in a classroom. You have to take that initiative and go out. And you were always one of those students who was like, okay, now what can I do? What can I do next? And you were always prepared and everything. And it shows. Look where you are today and how you have this
Right.
big responsible job getting people all over the world to get them to do shoots. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
exciting. So
it
I've got
is.
one last question for you. It's kind of a two-part, and I ask this of everybody because you're out there, you're doing it, you're making it happen, you're putting that degree to work. What is one piece of advice that you would give to a current UCM student in digital media? And what is something that you would say to a prospective student who's thinking about UCM for their future?
Oh gosh, I was literally talking to my boss about this today because I was trying to convince her daughter to go to UCM.
Excellent.
Yeah. So for a current student, I would say check out the gear, go play with it, hands-on, mess with it. If you know what I mean, just keep doing it. Like get as many reps as you can with the gear while you've got free access. If that was one of my biggest things is like we have all of this gear here just at our disposal.
Yeah,
You
we
know,
have all the
use
industry
it.
standards. So,
Exactly. Take it out, go shoot your friend running down the sidewalk from 5 different angles, like whatever, just getting the reps and getting to just sit there and play with it and learn more about the camera. It goes such a long way because you're going to get out into the freelance world and people are going to be like, here's a Sony FX9, use it. Or hey, I need you to know how to use this camera. I'm going to provide you a red Komodo, use it. You know what I mean? And so it's like having to learn that aspect and just already knowing that and being like, you got it. That will take you so far. And then for the students that are thinking about it, do it. Basically the same thing. I was so nervous about going into UCM, especially in the DMP program, because I was like, before college, I knew that I wanted to get into film, but I didn't really have that much experience with cameras and things like that. And I knew that like I had a lot to learn, but by the time I left, I felt so confident in myself and so ready to just dive into the industry, get my foot in the door and do whatever I could. And so if you're thinking about it, do it because I truly felt so comfortable within the program too. Goodness, I feel like I'm on a first name basis with almost every professor. You know what I mean? Like I feel confident to be like,
Mhm.
hey, Joe, how are you? And like it truly felt like a community that just wanted you to get better. And so if you're thinking about getting into it and you want to pursue film, do it.
All right. Well, Abby, thank you so much. I'm so glad
Absolutely.
you chose to come here and just do it and get to work with it and check out the gear and put it all to use. We are so happy to have you and we're so proud of where you are today.
Thank you, Joe. And thank you for all of your help getting me here.
That is Abbey Daniel. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Remember, you can watch every episode on our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/UCMMN. Stands for UCM Media Network. You can also listen on Spotify. Special thanks to Jake Mager for creating our theme music. And again, this is Dr. Joe Moore reminding you, you can get there from here. Have a great day.